Behind the Screens, episode 22 with me, Curtis.
And me, James. And today we're here with a special guest, Ollie, otherwise known as TalkCPFC. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm very good. Thanks for having me on.
I like the Japan shirt.
Thank you. So you can't see on the back, I've got Daichi Kamada on the back, obviously.
Of course.
And now Palace legend, as they all are on the
Every
team.
single one of them surely has got to be held in
Every single one.
a higher regard. You're obviously a Palace fan, hence Talk CPFC.
Yeah.
Is there any other CPFCs? I don't know if there are.
You're looking at me like I'm
I
not
don't know if
Palace
it could
fan,
be
mate,
anything
so-
else. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's been a hell of a month for you.
It has.
Still hungover?
Still riding the wave, definitely. Like, I can't believe it wasn't even a month ago. And in my head, it feels like eternities ago. Probably because I've watched the highlights literally every day. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, I've consumed every piece of content that I possibly could have done of the final. But yeah, it's mad. It's surreal. It is surreal. Like, in the days afterwards, I'd watch it back and I'd be like, I can't believe that actually happened.
What was the best bit of content? Because I know for me, what's the number one, but as a Palace fan, I want to say.
Obviously, other than my own content output from the final, there's that one video which just captures it perfectly. I think it's like a Brazilian football journalist, and he's in the Palace fans, and he just like starts filming fans at full time, and he's going around. There's old people, young people, like all these different people of different races, different backgrounds. Basically, everyone crying, everyone hugging each other. That is the best bit because I think that's the one thing that is difficult to capture. At least on like mainstream media coverage, like what it was actually like in the stands at full time, and it was just that is the bit of content I can relate to the most. I think. What do you think the best bit was?
For me, it's the two lads who were on the tifo with old man. Honestly, I saw that. I actually got a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't get emotional. But
No, I just thought it was quality. Like, imagine that. Like, your old man, he's no longer there.
Yeah.
And just like, must be quality for them. I don't know.
They absolutely smashed the Homesdale fanatics who sorted out that tifo and the tifo for the semi-final. Absolutely smashed it.
Well,
Like,
if you want to talk about good tifos, an Arsenal fan, we know what we're doing.
was it against PSG?
Yes, it was the bed sheet that they hung up.
That was
basically
terrible.
off the.
so if you're
off the
going
edge
to
of the
do it,
bricks.
you've got to do it well. Otherwise, just don't bother.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I don't know what they expected to happen there in terms of fan reaction, but
Get really excited by that.
yeah, it's the Arsenal logo.
The worst thing is they turned down.
I know, yeah.
The fan ones were pretty terrible anyway, but we know what the cannon looks like while you hang it from the North Bank. It's just honking. And then we went out to Paris and they put on a show. Like everything pre-game, the tifo was quality. The like pyrotechnics.
Yeah,
It felt like you were going into a big game. Whereas like what you going to get out of hanging that up?
I know.
Point.
It was just.
It's not the thing over here, really, is it? Apart from Palace.
I was going to say we're
Palace
the
is only one that
exception,
does it.
really.
You are the. Would you say the ultras of England earlier?
Well, they are. Well, they
Yeah.
are ultras, aren't they? But what do you think of them, Homesdale fanatics?
I mean, they get a lot of heat. Obviously, people call them cringe, etc. But Palace fans got so much love after both trips to Wembley for the semi and the final, and that is all down to them. Like, they're the ones who coordinate the whole thing. I heard someone say at full time of the final, while everyone else was going mental and celebrating, the fanatics who were like right behind the goal, they all just like slumped back because they had been singing non-stop like the entire game. And at Wembley, it's really hard to generate quite a good atmosphere because obviously it's so big and you kind of have little pockets of noise most of the time. But the way they operate is they just go the whole time, and you can almost just like drop in and out. Like, I was getting so stressed during the game that I wasn't singing a lot of the time, and then it kind of, them constantly going kind of reminds you like, okay, no, I should join in now as well. Whereas they just relentlessly the whole time. And Palace fans I think they have a good reputation for atmosphere and whatnot, and that is not purely down to them. Obviously, other fans contribute, but they are responsible for that. So,
why do you think in the Premiership especially people think it's cringe?
I think that's just British culture, right? Like, we British people don't like being passionate about anything.
Loud,
It's like, that's embarrassing, and we run the nonchalant gimmick like no country. So I think that's why. But I quite like that. Like, I think it spawns more humour in football fans. That's the one thing I don't necessarily like about the fanatics, is like the songs aren't very reactive a lot of the time or funny, and that's one thing that I like about English football. Like, you can hear a chant and you'll laugh at it, whereas I feel like you don't really get that elsewhere.
What are your thoughts on Drums at football.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. That felt like a weighted question. Do you?
No.
Do you...
we are proponents of the drum. Aren't we?
Really?
It's never going to happen at Brentford, but
No.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
When I've been to, like, my brother's, he's a Leicester City fan, and they have a drum there, and he's right behind them. And it was a shit game that I went to watch. It was like Leicester City against who is it? It was like Rotherham last year on Boxing Day. I was back at my parents' house, and they were going for the whole game, and the game was shit. It was like 7-0 to Leicester. Yeah, but I was just watching them. It just seemed like
That's funny because I was actually going to say Leicester because I went to Leicester Palace a couple of years ago. Also terrible game, 0-0 lunchtime kickoff. Probably the worst game I've seen us in since we came up in 2013. But I noticed the Leicester. It reminded me of Palace in terms of just like constantly going on, and it just means that there's always some sort of atmosphere because a lot of away grounds you go to and there's just like no one is singing for long spells, whereas the drum just always keeps something going. It must be pretty tiring, but
well, that was it. That's the reason why I think it's a good thing. We went to obviously Arsenal. We went to Paris. It was tough, and we were like dejected after 60 minutes. We've gone like they've just scored. It feels out of reach, and still the drum, and you do like it kind of gets you going again and gets you singing. Otherwise, you just sat down, and I think like it's the
there was a drum at Arsenal.
Yeah, in the away end. So with I don't know if it's from the Ashburton Army, which, you know, that is literally just 18-year-olds trying to do something. It's whatever. But yeah, in the away end, it's been, I think, for about a year and a half in the Arsenal away end, there's been a drum. And it felt like the only way we were getting close to the PSG atmosphere was by having that and having something. And it does, it gives you like.
It's like if you've not got it, trying to create atmosphere against
so
that
hard.
is impossible.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's like I said against when we played Forest, and at Forest you were next to like the season ticket holders, and they're so fucking loud, like, and they don't have a drum, but you can't get anything going in the away end. Yeah, it's just so the atmosphere is ridiculous.
Yeah, cramped ground Forest, isn't it? I do like that as an away spot though. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah, it's good ground.
Yeah, it's. I wonder the difference between a top 4 club and then obviously you two. I don't want to say mid-table clubs, but mid-table clubs like. The supporting atmosphere, Arsenal, there are a lot of tourists home and away. That is just what it is. I wonder if it's easier for a mid-table club because there's not going to be many tourists supporting.
You do get them though.
Yeah.
Because like Brentford, it's a small club.
Yeah.
And you've got all the other clubs around there. And if people come for the weekend and Brentford are playing Man United, people can sell their tickets for a lot of money, and you end up having like, a lot of travelling Man United fans in the home end.
That happened when we played United this year as well. There was like people around me who are normally there weren't there, and all these random people who they were like, United would get a corner. I sit in the Homesdale. United would get a corner and then just get their phone out and start recording it. And I was like, you could at least like pretend to not be. The only thing I like about that though is I remember we played Arsenal a few years ago. We won 3-0, and the person sat next to me was clearly an Arsenal fan. So every time we scored, I would just jump up and down and like hug him and jump up and down with him, and they kind of have to go like, But I'm like, if you're going to sit in the home end, I'm going to rub it in your face, even though I'm not communicating with you, but we both know that you're an Arsenal fan.
I don't know how people can sit in the home end as an away fan.
I never do it. I was going to say though, that's interesting because everybody knows that you're secretly an Arsenal fan.
Secretly an Arsenal fan. I'm not secretly an Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
where's this come from that you're an Arsenal fan then?
This twofold, right? One of them is that in a world of everyone hating Arsenal, I just don't hate Arsenal. I just don't. I don't know why. I never have. My dad hates Arsenal. He's always hated Arsenal for. I'm not really sure why, but I quite like the project that they had. Like I liked it more in the year when they like really ran City close in like 22, 23. Like I really like Saka. Yeah, like I like Saka. I really like David Raya. I controversially like Arteta. And obviously because everything in football has to be black or white, because I like Arsenal, I must secretly support them because it's obviously just logical. I also went to a fancy dress party once as David Luiz, and I wore like the yellow away Arsenal shirt, and people were like, oh, see, he's wearing an Arsenal shirt. Like, I'm also wearing a wig in the same picture. I'm like, it's obviously fancy dress. But yeah, that's just a label I'll never shake. But it means Arsenal fans are very nice to me. Because I know, I mean, I've never experienced it myself. I hear that Arsenal fans can be quite toxic online. I've never experienced that. I'm like, what are you talking about, guys?
You just have to, I guess, see the success of Arsenal Fan TV and show that Arsenal and negativity is what works. Not to keep talking about Paris every single time, but we were held in the ground for hours afterwards and everyone's miserable. We can't get out. Just over in the corner, you see Robbie and his lot buzzing, grinning ear to ear because they're going to get loads of views off of the negativity. And it's like, as an Arsenal fan, our online presence, full of twats.
Lee Gunner.
Yeah.
Lee Gunner is...
Yeah.
I've had to mute him on Twitter. So I'm just like, sure, I've just never seen him say anything positive, anything, ever. And I'm like, people ask me that sometimes, like, as a Palace fan, you know, if Palace do badly, you can get some views out of it. I'm like, first of all, I can't. People don't care enough about Palace. If Palace lose, people are like, great, no one cares. But also, I would rather Palace won. Like, I care more about Palace than I care about a video doing well in a 24-hour period after a game. So I've never really understood that mindset.
So staying on the Palace theme, talk to us. What is the story with this multi-club ownership and Europe? Are you actually going to get kicked out of Europe, or what's going to happen?
I don't think we will. I'll give you the full story.
Yeah, break it down.
So the drama is that Palace and Lyon are both in the Europa League, and we both share a majority shareholder who's called John Textor, who owns a company called Eagle Football Holdings, which he actually created after he bought into Palace. So we weren't like a part of that originally. Yeah.
Real quick, did he used to be involved in Liverpool? I feel like I recognise the name.
I don't think so. I think we were the first team that well, at least I know of. He now part owns Botafogo as well.
Okay.
So, and according to UEFA rules, you can't have like the same owner in a club. The reason it's like more complicated than that is because he owns 43% of Palace, but he only has a 25% voting right. Like if I was to ask you who is Palace's owner, most people would say Steve Parish, because he, even though he owns less than John Textor, he has 25% as well, along with two other owners we have, and he also has like the final vote. So if there's anything tied, he gets the final decision. So John Textor has been trying to sell his shares at Palace for ages because he doesn't have enough influence.
Right.
So even though he technically owns most of Palace, he doesn't have like a majority decisive influence is what is the terminology. So it's not quite as simple as like he owns both clubs, therefore Palace should get kicked out. So for context, we would lose our spot in Europe over Lyon because they prioritise league position, and Lyon finished higher than us in Liga. So that's like the top line of it. Yeah. Again, a common thing people say is, well, Man City and Girona were both in the Champions League last year. Obviously, there's the Red Bull clubs. Like, why can't that's unfair on Palace? Basically, the way those clubs got around it was the owners would put their shares in one of those clubs into what's called a blind trust. So it's like putting your shares away. You technically don't like have control over them. The reason John Textor didn't do that is because he wanted to sell them, and you can't sell shares when they're in a blind trust.
Right.
And also the deadline for that was on the 1st of March to be valid for this season. At that point, we were 12th in the Premier League, and we hadn't even played Millwall yet in the FA Cup. So like, debatably we could have done it, but equally it was would have been a bit of a long shot, especially while he was trying to sell those shares.
So what do you think is going to happen then? Do you think Forest are going to get in?
I don't think they will. I think worst case scenario is we'll drop down to the Conference League, because basically the other problem there is we have the same problem with a different owner in the Conference League. He owns Bromby, another one of our owners, but no one even knew that until last week. And I think we'd get precedent over them because we qualified for the Europa League. But I think we'll be okay, because like a lot of it's just about like they don't want to have two clubs colluding with each other basically in the Europa League, but there is a lot of evidence that John Textor doesn't have that influence over Palace. He's basically just an investor. He's not someone who has a key decision making. But I think whatever happens, it will drag. Like,
yeah. So what do you think of Forest writing to UEFA to try and get in?
I just think it's like, why do you need to do that? Like, what's the? I mean, they just love writing letters. Forest. They just write them to everyone. I also like. The ironic thing is, so obviously Marinakis owns Olympiacos as well as Forest, and he put his shares in a blind trust in Forest in April, which is also after the deadline. And then, so like, he technically has no decisive influence over Forest, but he ran on the pitch in May and had a massive go at Nuno over the Awani thing or whatever it was over. And it's like,
what do you make of that social media post a couple of days after that was quite clearly written by Marinakis.
I know. I mean,
it was mental.
What did it say?
Oh,
it was this massive thing about how much Marinakis cares about the club and his underlying
so
passion
weird.
is why we are where we are. And it's like, you could at least be a bit more subtle about it.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, we'll never know why he ran on the pitch. They obviously claimed afterwards it was about Awani ruptured, and they claimed it was about that. But at the time, no one knew that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was... But yeah, Palace fans and Forest fans are in a bit of a civil war now because obviously Palace fans are like, why the hell have they done that? And Forest fans are just backing Marinakis to the hill.
I just don't think I'll be able to get behind them. This is the statement, right, that they put out. I'm obviously not going to read it all.
It's massive. It's a huge statement.
They're basically like, Marinakis, this isn't just a football club. He instills that message in all of us. This is so much more. This was a reaction of deep care. Like, it's just a mental statement. And the club putting that out, like, it literally, he's written it and then gone, we instead to change it. But it's mental.
It's just, I don't think it will make any difference to UEFA, Marinakis writing in. Like, I don't need his input. And obviously they just want to, because they obviously would get our spot if we were to drop down. So I get why I understand that they want our spot. I get it. I'd be the same, but you have to write. Why do you need to write to them? Also, everyone else has just looked at that outside of Forest and been like, why have they done that? Like,
grow up.
They've done some odd things recently. And that is the worst of them. And I'll be fuming if they benefit from it.
What's your earliest Crystal Palace memory?
My earliest memory is going to Palace versus Everton in 2004. It's our first home game. We got promoted that season. It was Julius Baroni's debut. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
And
Was he the goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's like our fourth or fifth most or highest appearance maker in our history,
Really?
I think. It was his debut. He had an absolute stinker. He was so bad. We went 1-0 up, I think. Mark Hudson scored. I remember it well. And we lost 3-1. And at half-time, Britney Spears came on over the tannoy.
I thought you meant onto the pitch.
No, God, mate, imagine that. We're on real
before that was
at Selhurst Park. But I was only 5 at the time, but I had a massive crush on Britney Spears. That's what everyone did. This was like the toxic era.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Know that well.
Yeah. And that song came on over the speakers, and I was stood on my chair.
I like this club.
And what a team! I'm infatuated. And my family started like taking the piss out of me because they knew I fancied it.
Yeah.
And I like went to cover my ears like that, and I just fell off my chair.
Brilliant.
And then started crying. So that's my earliest memory of Palace.
I thought you were going to say you started dancing on your chair and your dad was like, get the fuck down.
This is the footy. We don't do that here.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely not the last time you've cried at Palace.
No.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I cried at Palace a month ago.
There you go.
Well, that was at Wembley technically, but yeah.
Who do you think is the hardest manager in the Premier League?
The hardest?
Yeah, in a Royal Rumble, who's winning?
Most erect manager.
That's who's in the stadium on the 2004 against.
I was going to say Deitch, but he's not manager anymore, is he?
Nuno's got to be up there.
That was one of the first ones because he's a bit mental as well, isn't he?
Mm.
He was a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's got that goalkeeper like trait of being a bit of a lunatic. I'm trying to think who else maybe there's some like dark horses. Who else even is there?
It's not as the Premier League used to be harder a few years ago. I thought
We got a bunch of tacticos now.
Yeah, bring back like Allardyce, Deitch, like
that'd be a good duo, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Allardyce and Deitch.
Yeah, pint of gravy to finish it off.
I feel like there are some people who like would really play dirty in a Royal Rumble. Like Arteta,
Yeah.
Unai Emery. I think Unai Emery could be a little bit nasty if he wanted to.
Yeah,
He's a spitter, I reckon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he is.
yeah, he definitely is. Yeah,
But I think if it was just a brawl, Nuno.
yeah.
He's definitely the most physically imposing, I think.
Who's come up? Who've just been promoted?
There's Daniel Farker at Leeds.
Do you know what? He can handle himself.
Yeah.
He's
I
definitely got a headbutt on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't he in like a heavy metal band?
He looks like.
Farker? I think he is.
Yes. Yeah, isn't it got a really weird name?
I'm sure I read about this when Norwich were in the Prem. He's like, he's got a rock band of some kind. I can't remember what they're called.
There's nothing coming up on a quick Google.
There's Farker. There's that Sunderland manager who can't remember his name. I don't think he would do. Who else got promoted? Burnley with Scott Parker.
Oh,
but also he was like when he played, he was
Yeah.
he had a bit about
Scott
him.
Parker should be like in his Audi selling 2 beds in Sid Cup. Like he's not that guy.
I'm quite looking forward to seeing how they get on next year, Burnley, because like they're the opposite of most like someone like Leeds. come up and they've like smashed everyone in the championship and like they score loads of goals. Burnley like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
They just like keep clean sheets every game.
I just don't rate Scott Parker. I think they'll be straight back down.
It's just a bit. I would have loved someone like Millwall to come up, or Bristol City, or Coventry.
I was glad Sunderland came up. Yeah. I agree.
Leeds and Burnley, it's just the same again, isn't it? Then next year it'll be Southampton and Leicester City.
Yeah. It will. It's in a never-ending cycle now. It's a good time to be a mid-table Premier League team. It's like when people are like, "Oh, it's impossible to compete now." Like as your promoted team, it's you can't stay up. I'm just like, unlucky.
Yeah, I feel like
got promoted earlier.
Everyone from that like 4 to 8 years ago, like the Brentfords, like if you established yourself, you're good now.
Well, I think we might be a little bit stuck next year.
Do you think Brentford will be all right? Do you trust? They're pretty well run, right? Like,
well, if Wissa goes and Mbeumo goes
and Frank goes,
do
you think Wissa will go?
I think he'll go. Yeah, I think he'll go to Spurs. But I think Brian will go to Man United.
Yeah.
Replacing those goals.
It's a lot.
It's like 40 goals.
It's the highest percentage of bald goal scorers at any football club in Premier League history.
And they bought a striker last year for 30
Made
mil,
it up.
but he played about 4 games.
Was it Igor Thiago?
Yeah.
His name? Yeah.
I'm not convinced he's going to be the guy.
It's a big ask to go straight into like basically a new team.
Yeah, so.
Also, it feels like, I know obviously you'll get a good amount of money, but it's not like crazy. You won't get crazy money for Wissa and Mbeumo, will you? Probably.
Wissa, I reckon you get 35, 40.
It's nothing nowadays, is it? Like, what can you get with that?
And then Brian will be 65, I think.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you'll go to Europe, like try and find someone from Italy or Spain, and it's just 50-50 if it works.
Well, we've got like a Brazilian lad that's come in last season that's meant to be Brian's replacement. He didn't play this year, so that's again. He was injured the whole year.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal. Who do you think will come in as manager? Do you think
they were saying that it was going to be Justin Cochrane, who's head coach like at Brentford, like first coach.
Really?
But I think he's going to go with Frank for Spurs. So they're saying McKenna from Ipswich is the chat.
That's very Brentford.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
safe
good though.
Smart. I feel like he's
it's a big change because he's been there for 10 years. So
you don't get that nowadays, do you?
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that when he got hired, Brentford got criticised for that? Am I right in saying that? Because for some reason I remember, because Dean Smith left of his own accord, didn't he? He didn't get sacked.
He went to
Villa,
yeah.
For some reason I remember people being like, "Oh, why have they got this random bloke in?"
He was a coach there at Brentford.
Yeah.
He was a coach, and then they promoted him. He lost, I think, his first 8 or 9 games in a row, and everyone was calling him to get sacked, and then he turned it around.
So he'd been at Brøndby for 3 seasons, then was a coach for 2 years.
Damn,
8 years or 10 years.
Interesting.
He's a cool guy, isn't he, Thomas Frank?
He is, yeah. People always talk about like the managers you'd want to like go for dinner with. I feel like he would have so much to talk about. He'd be great on a podcast. I feel like his segments.
Something about him is there's a Brentford forum, and he's probably one of the only football managers that still has interviews with the forum. Really? So he goes and sits down as a podcast with the guys who are in the forum and goes to the pub and has a pint with them and stuff.
He's a down-to-earth guy, isn't he? Have you seen that video of Gary Lineker cooking him dinner?
No.
Have you seen that? It's on the BBC's YouTube, or like Match of the Day's YouTube. It's really good. He's cooking him fish. They sit there, have a little glass of wine. I'm like, I want to have Thomas Frank over for dinner.
Yeah.
Next
Look at that. That is 2 people who...
It's so Thomas Frank. If there was any football manager in the Premier League who would be interviewed by Gary Lineker over a home-cooked fish supper, it would be Thomas Frank. It's a niche category, but...
I'm not sure whether he's doing the right thing by going to Spurs. I'm not sure.
It's worried about him getting given the time.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to get given the time. And
it's a good hire, I think, for Spurs.
Him trying to replicate what Brentford do there just isn't going to work.
No.
So...
It's also weirdly an impossible job because they just won the Europa League, but they are also terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what represents a good season for Spurs next year? I don't know.
Yeah. What would be a good season?
I feel like people think he's going to go there and just turn them into a super club.
Yeah, he went. Well, I like Spurs, but I doubt that will happen.
I hope it doesn't.
It's going to happen.
Unbiased.
You wake up as Roy Hodgson for a day. What's the first thing you do, and what does that day look like?
Roy Hodgson, like now?
Right now, yeah. This morning, you got out of bed. You were Woy.
That's pretty good life that he's living right now because he's retired. I actually saw him recently in Soho, and he was looking very well. A lot less stressed than he was as Palace manager.
Yeah.
What would I do? The first thing I'd do, probably go for a nice like country walk, pick some fruit.
Shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you mean the first thing? Yeah, I'd go for my morning food. I think I'll go for a walk. I can imagine he lives in a nice country house somewhere with some like, maybe like a vineyard.
Do you think it's because he looks a bit like an owl that you're just associating that?
No, he's an old man. I'm just stereotyping old men with the countryside there. But there's nothing wrong with that, I think.
Yeah.
Most old
Who's the
people do like
greatest
countryside.
Palace manager ever?
Glasner now, I think.
You
Genuinely.
think, yeah.
I think he had a pretty good case before we won the World Cup. And that's like
The World Cup?
The FA Cup. So I get carried away there. Mate.
It's not like Crystal Palace fans
that's
are
next
over
year
it.
Palace are going to win the World Cup. The FA Cup. I think in terms of just like how good we were, because a lot of our success has been pretty fleeting in our history. And Roy is up there, genuinely is up there, just for the stability. But like in terms of, you watch Palace now and I'm like, God, we're actually good. Like, it's kind of scary that we could actually be really good if things go right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that he's like I really like that style of manager. It's kind of what we said just then. He's a very Premier League manager, like very tactical and like has his way of playing. And like, I like that kind of Germanic approach, the Red Bull style of football, which I think we play. So I think it's got to be him. Like we've only won one thing ever. So there's all of a sudden all of that team has been elevated into like, oh, they might be the greatest. Dean Henderson is probably Palace's greatest ever keeper now.
Well,
like
Kamada's a great example of that. At the start of the season,
everyone was like, who the hell is this guy? Now he's Palace legend.
What happens if next year it all goes wrong and you're languishing in 18th position with one game to go?
What do you mean?
Do you reckon he'd get the sack at the end of the season?
I actually don't think he would. I don't know. It depends. Depends how we get there. In terms of goodwill of like fans. So even this season, for context, we started the season terribly. We were in the relegation zone in November, I think, and we didn't win for 8 games. We had fewer points after 9 games this year than we did in the year where we lost our first 7 games without scoring, which was Roy's first year. But no Palace fan wanted him sacked. Like no, he was getting a lot of pressure from the media, but inside Palace, it was like no one was even contemplating that. Steve Parish came out and said like, no, that was never on the table because like
the back end of last season, you played such good football.
Oh, that was unreal.
Warranted that time. And then I think, wasn't there a point in March or something where in the calendar year, only Madrid had more points than Palace? I think that was like middle of March, which
we were flying.
That's insane to think about.
I remember we played Wolves away last year, like our last away game of the season. And like I went there, had the normal
terrible
away
day.
Yeah, well, it's terrible unless you win 3-1. But I got there and it was like 10 minutes into the game and I was like, I've not even contemplated that we won't win this game. And I've never, ever had that as a Palace fan ever. There's always just a seed of doubt of like, well, what if we just shit the bed?
Yeah.
which we could do. But that period of time, like obviously everyone could see how good Elise is now. He was that good at Palace too. Like he was world class playing for us. And he was so much better than everyone else on the team. I just watched us. I was like, I can't believe this is Palace. But why? The running joke with us was always that come April we'd turn into like one of the best teams in the Prem. But by that point we were out of the cup. We were mid-table in the Premier League and we had absolutely nothing to play for. Whereas this year we did have something to play for and we actually got something from it for the first time ever.
Yeah. You mentioned then Elise.
Gutted he plays for France.
Yeah, man, he's so good.
I want your start one, bench one, sell one. Elise, Eza, and Mark Gahey all at their peak.
I mean, head is start Elise. I think Elise is the best player to ever play for Palace.
Really?
In terms of just like, he's not Palace's best ever player, but he's the best player to ever play for us, I think. I think at the end of his career, he'd be like, I can't believe he played for Palace. It's difficult because Eze and Gahey are just like so different in the way they play. Gahey's so reliable, like just never makes mistakes. But Eze at his best is unreal. So I'll probably bench Eze, sell Gahey. But I think Gahey's one of the most underrated players in the Prem. I think people forget last summer at the Euros, he was like one of England's best players. And then it got to September and people were like, oh, well, Konsa should play over him. I'm like, did I just imagine that happening?
Yeah. Do you think you'll keep hold of both of them this summer?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
I think Gahey's only got a year left in his contract.
Need to cash in.
I've read that he is So obviously Newcastle were in for him loads last summer. Apparently they want him again, but I've read that he doesn't want to go there, and he doesn't want to go to Spurs either, who also want him. So I think Palace will probably try and sell him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just tries to run his contract down and goes for a free next summer, because then he kind of has his pick of clubs. Like I think I read that he wants to go to Liverpool.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't begrudge him. Like assuming we're in Europe next year, hopefully. Like I'm happy to keep him because he's our captain and we stand a much better chance of doing well if he was there. Eze has a release clause of like 68 million.
Not much.
Before March, I would have gone, no club's paying that, because the one criticism I would have had of him was that he didn't really step up when it mattered for Palace. Like he had flashes of being unbelievable, definitely had the ability, but he kind of like he seemed to shirk big moments a bit. Then he scored in the FA Cup quarter-final, the semi-final and the final, and like 3 huge goals in the context of each of those games. So he's kind of proven, even like yesterday in the England game, I thought he was probably our best attacker. Not that I was saying much because we were terrible. But I feel like he's kind of got that that energy now of like, I'll grab this game by the scruff of the neck.
Who's the most important player in the Palace team?
Daniel Munoz.
He's a baller.
I think the system just collapses if he didn't play. Mate, that's partly because we don't have any backup for him. But like, he's just up and down. In the final, he was brilliant. Like, he's just he won Fans Player of the Season and Players Player of the Season at Palace this year. I think like quite comfortably on both, which again speaks volumes, because you, as an outsider, you might go, well, you might say Mateta, or you might say Eze or Wharton or Gahey, but Munoz he only cost like 7 mil, which is insane.
Do you think it's a testament though to the system in that like shots he's getting, the amount of touches in the box? Like he's a right back, but he's not right back. He's basically one of your most attacking players and involved in more than anyone else.
Yeah, it's like Glasner deserves all the credit for that, because the way we play now is actually very different to how we played at the end of last season, because we have like different players, and that's why we started the season so badly, because we lost Elise, we lost Anderson, even Jordan Ayew, who played a lot of games for Palace last year. And Munoz wasn't very good for the first, no one was good at all. And then we just kind of like worked out. And I think he obviously gets helped a lot by Sarr and a lot by Chris Richards at centre-back. But yeah, he's quality. He's just like a proper old school right back, just up and down the whole time. And I mean, I love Joel Ward and Nathaniel Clyde.
Any sentence has ever started with "I love Joel Ward," but fair enough.
Club legend. But he's not Daniel Munoz is so different to that. I'm like, God, I have a right back who can actually like attack and cross the ball. What the hell? It's a magical thing to have.
Yeah, I love this, by the way. I was just going to say, like, I feel like this podcast, all of the episodes we've done, this is the first time we've like really unleashed into football. I'm having a great time.
Cheers, mate. Do you think Adam Wharton is going to be world class?
Yeah, I do. I firmly believe that. I think he's as good as Elise. Like he's like he'll go to the similar levels of him. I could see him. The only problem he has is that he hasn't stayed fit that much. Like he's been in and out of the team because of injuries. But I've never seen a centre mid like that. Like we speak about England, he is.
How does he get in the England team?
I think him and Rice as the deep midfielders works, because he just gets the ball forward so quickly. Like his vision and his like braveness. Is that word?
Bravery.
With the ball, bravery. That's why you're the host and I'm the guest. He just like punches through the lines like no one I've ever seen at Palace before, definitely. But 100%, he's like. I think Palace fans can be. People often call us deluded. Every fan's deluded, but I think we have a good gauge of like how good our players could be. Like I love Eze. He's probably my second favorite ever Palace player. I don't think he's like a starter for England level. I don't think that, even though he can be really good. And like, I think there was a short spell where Zaha was that good, but like I appreciate now, like he kind of fell off over the last few years. But I do really think Wharton is good enough to play. Like I look at that England team, like that is what we miss.
There's a gap in that midfield.
It's just the way it's like it's not necessarily his ability; it's what he's good at. It's just so rare, especially amongst English midfielders.
I feel like that is a really nice segue.
Hang on, I've got one question.
Okay.
Why do you think Wilfried Zaha never made it at Man United? And why didn't he ever go to a big club?
I think there are two different answers there. He needed TLC. He always needed to be like loved, and at Palace he was just so loved. And you could give him the ball 30 times and he could lose it 30 times in a row, and Palace fans would still want him to go and get the ball and like go and attack. And I think he's just like, he had quite like a short temper, right? Like even as a Palace fan, I could see that he was a bit, he'd get easily wound up. But I think when things weren't going his way, he like needed an arm around the shoulder, and he just joined United at a bad time. Like David Moyes was under so much pressure. He also wasn't David Moyes' signing.
Didn't he? There were rumours
about shagging the daughter or something.
David was.
I believe that's not true, but that obviously didn't help things. I don't know how. Yeah. But then the reason he never left Palace was because there was. I think it was Hodgson's first season. He was unreal. That's when he like really exploded at Palace, and he was just carrying us. And that summer, he signed a 5-year contract at Palace, and he just signed his life away. Like. Because at that point, we were asking for like 80 million quid for him. And in 2018, that was like superstar money and people were like, we're not paying that for a mid-table player, which he was. But he was our Premier League status. Like if we sold him, we would have gone down probably 3 or 4 seasons in a row. So I spoke about this to someone yesterday. Like I feel sorry for him in a lot of ways, because as a Palace fan who also liked him, he could have gone on to do amazing things. And like I look at Elise now and I'm like genuinely happy that he's done that work. It's also a good look for Palace, right? If players come from Palace and go to a big team, it's beneficial to us in the long term. But he went on to be our best ever player. So
where did he go to? Galatasaray?
Yeah, on a free. And now he's at Charlotte in MLS.
Oh, is he?
I missed that.
He went to Galatasaray and then he went to Lyon for a bit, and then he went now he's at Charlotte.
He always strikes me as a player that, like you say, he can give the ball away 30 times and it not work. And he needs to be the big fish in a small pond. And be given the 30 chances, because that one time, it's going to be amazing. But he needs the rope to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. But yeah, I'm going to try that segue again as well. So it feels like a good time, talking about Adam Wharton, to get the top 5 players not at a Big Six club. Oh. So you two,
let me just have a look at my
as
list.
the resident mid-table experts. Also, I've noticed, Bart, you've not been given much of an opportunity.
I'm just taking it all in, man.
How you doing over there?
I'm doing all good.
You excited to hear who the best? Are United a top 6 club? Are we allowed to consider them?
Are we talking of all time or in the recent years?
You know, when you talk about the Big Six,
when you
talk about United in that conversation?
I think you can. I think we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah.
So we are still considered the Big Six. The Big Six will likely never change.
Yeah,
I think you got the pull. You definitely got the pull. I was talking to someone, like my mate said, he's a Newcastle fan. And he was like, "Oh, we're going to get Mbuemo," and I was like, "Well, you're not, because he's going to go Man United." Like if you're a player, it doesn't matter if especially if Brian Mbuemo's age, who's 25. Him growing up,
believe that, by the way.
Mental. Yeah, it's bad.
Him growing up, Man United were the biggest club in the world. If Man United come for you, you're going to Man United over Newcastle, no matter what anyone says. Even if they got Champions League football, it doesn't matter. You're going to Man United.
It just doesn't work anymore, though. I feel like every player that goes to United.
But I feel like they think I'm going to be the one to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can change him.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. He's stuck in his ways.
Yeah, and I hope he does well there, but I also hope he flops.
Yeah.
I also hate that guy, but...
Top 5 players not at a Big Six club. What's your number 5?
Number 5, I think I'm going to go for Morgan Rogers, who I like a lot.
Good player.
I do like a lot, but in a year's time, maybe a bit higher. But
I wonder if he'll get a move this summer.
A lot of money, though. Although Villa do need to sell, allegedly, don't they? He's good. I really like him.
Player.
My number 5, I'm going to say Mitoma at Brighton.
Really?
I think he's good because it's a Palace fan.
No, I mean, also I'm a Palace fan. I can't put any Brighton players in, but I do. I think
he's a class little player.
Yeah,
he's always got goals, always
brilliant.
assists. He's a good player.
I can see him at Liverpool.
Really? He's linked to Bayern.
Is he?
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how much. He's one of those players. Like, how much would that cost to get him out of Brighton? I have no idea.
Yeah, they're good at selling players.
They're
very good at
300 mil.
Right, what's your number 4?
Number 4, first of a couple of Palace players, I will put Adam Wharton, who we spoke about. I just think you could have Belaber in there from Brighton as well. Like, they're on a similar trajectory, but obviously I'm going to say Wharton. I just think give it a few years and everyone will see the vision. They will see the vision.
Nice.
Number 4, first of my Brentford players coming in. Mikkel Damsgaard. What a season he's had.
He's been really good.
He's been unbelievable this season. If he can keep up next season, then he's going to be a big money transfer. But season before he was terrible, but now he's our player that makes everything happen. He makes it tick, pass it forward. He's great at tackling as well, and he's so skillful. So
I'll take your word for it.
Honestly, great player.
Number 3?
Number 3?
I will put Eze here. I mean, I think he gets a lot of appreciation outside of the other 14 clubs as well. Like, a lot of Big Six teams really like him and fans like him. So that's a tap-in. FA Cup winner. Did I mention we won the FA Cup, by the way?
Number 3, Jarrod Bowen.
That's also a good shout.
I just don't know
how
he doesn't get in the England team, and he doesn't even get selected for any friendlies.
He reminds me a bit of Zaha in some ways, and just like the money it would require to get him out of West Ham would probably just not really be worth it to anyone. But he could easily play for a better team.
He's a great player.
Yeah, he's class. I like Bowen a lot. He's just a good bloke.
Yeah. Number 2?
Number 2, I've gone for Bruno G. Guimaraes.
Okay.
I think he's unreal.
Yeah.
Like, I know that a lot of people think he's a bit of like a dirty player, but he just runs. He's like the perfect centre midfielder. I think he gets into like most teams in the world.
He can do it all.
Hot
really,
take.
Can't he? There's very little you wouldn't trust him to do in midfield.
Okay, number 2, and this person I don't feel will be at Brentford next season. 20 goal season. He scored 20 goals in 19. I can't remember. Jan Wissa.
That means you've got number 1 as well. That's crazy.
Honestly, I did not expect him to be as good as he has been this season. He's replaced Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
Just like Toney wasn't even there.
19 in 35.
He did it last season when Toney was banned, but I didn't expect him to keep it up this season. And even when we bought our £30 million striker who got injured, he wouldn't have got in the team because Wissa's just absolutely smashed it. He can be a goal scorer for any club in the top 6 and score buckets of goals.
He didn't even take pens either, did he?
No,
19 non-pen goals. That is crazy, to be fair.
Ridiculous.
That is really impressive.
Sure, every single goal he scores is fucking class.
Yeah.
They're always like right in the corner, or he's beaten a player, or he's done something acrobatic. He's such a good player. Very few tap-ins you'd see with Wissa.
I don't think I could tell you a single goal he scored, which is weird, but I just feel like he scores every week. Like every time he scores, he's bagged.
Yeah. Number 1.
I mean, if you've got who I think you've got at number 1, it means this person hasn't even made your top 5, which is crazy. Alexander Isak.
I was gonna put him in, but
I mean, he's the best. He's second best striker. I still think Haaland's better than him, but he's like, he's world class.
Yeah, he's a great player. But
He's not Johan Wissa,
but I wanted to put Brentford players in my top 5. Got to give them the credit, and you never know, if this clip bangs, we might get more money.
Yeah. Clickbait.
So number 1, Phil Giles, if you're watching Brentford football guy. Number 1 for me, the best player in the Premier League, Brian Mbeumo.
Just the best.
The best player in the Premier League. He's not going to be at Brentford next season. He will firmly be in a Man United shirt. Wish him well, but hopefully we get 65, 70 mil for that player.
I just think that stinks of a flop signing.
Yeah. I also can't believe neither of you have Mateus Cunha. I think he is one of the best players in the Prem.
Yeah, I really like him, but I don't know. The standard of the non-Big Six clubs now is crazy. Like when I'm like, I could put Isak in.
Mikkel Damsgaard in.
Yeah, do you see how many assists he got this season?
Scored that free kick at Euro 2020 against
The
England.
amount of assists he got, mate, unreal. Yeah, I can't believe Brian Mbeumo's not in your top 5.
I could get behind that.
As I said, there's so many good players who like including Newcastle and Villa now is like not Big Six clubs. It's like a cheat code.
Yeah.
Like Tonali didn't make either of our top 5, and he's one of the best midfielders in the Prem this year.
I can't wait for the comments.
I was just saying, actually, when I came up with this one, I was like, this will be good. This is nice, easy. This is a fantastic one.
People are going to slate me.
Because there's only 5 spots, so every single comment, it's going to be interesting. I like that.
The thing to me, like when you say top 6 club, like I just always feel like Newcastle. I can't put a Newcastle player in there because their club is a massive club.
Yeah.
And they're in the Champions League.
It is kind of cheating.
Yeah.
It's
that's
cheat
the thing.
code.
Really, if you take Man United and Tottenham and swap them for Villa and Newcastle, that's fine. You wouldn't get really many Man United or Tottenham
that's
players
actually a good point. Like, would any current Spurs or Man United players make
Bruno
my top 5? Yeah, Bruno
probably
Fernandes,
the only
I can't stand him. He'd be in my top 5 cunt list. I think. Honestly, I can't stand him. I can't stand him.
Well, coming up shortly, the top 5 worst people in football.
Yeah. But he's quality.
I just hate him. Like when you just see him complain on the pitch.
But you'd love to have him play for your team.
I don't think I would. I'd hate to have him play for my team. I just can't stand him. I can't believe Man United haven't sold him and got 100 mil for him because he's.
Yeah,
mate. Well, if we sell him, we'll have no one. It would just. He saved us from
Mason Mount
relegated.
Mason Mount, poor guy.
Yeah, I actually feel a bit sorry for him because he just wanted to play for Chelsea. He didn't want to go to United.
Yeah.
Do you not?
No. They needed to for selling homegrown, didn't they, to get the pure profit?
Okay.
Football Twitter and football social media.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so toxic and negative?
That's a very good question. I think it varies from on platforms as well, we'll say. As someone who is active on TikTok, Instagram and Twitter, like TikTok isn't that bad. It's bad. It still is a bit bad because it's always football fans, but it's not that bad. Twitter is terrible.
Yeah, it's horrific.
And I don't know if it's got worse. I think it's got worse since Musk took over Twitter, personally. I just think people feel empowered to be horrible. Yeah. But it's just like it's like a snowball effect, I think. Is one person is horrible and like it does numbers, and then people think, well, I'll just go one step further than that. And football fans are so emotional, they take everything personally. And I could say something about, I'm trying to think of an example of a tweet that has upset people or upset football fans, which is like most of them because
pretty much anything. Yeah, anything you do that's related to football, you'll upset someone.
It's like, so I was moaning about a Forest owner after they wrote the letter to UEFA because obviously I would be like, what the hell? Because I'm a Palace fan. Why would I not think that? And Forest fans, they then just attack you. I'm like, I haven't said anything about you personally. Like, yeah, well, I mean, I won't repeat it but it's just like the norm. I don't really get how you can add, and I don't think whoever you are, if you have any sort of following, you will get it. Like, I don't think I spread much negativity. I try not to. There are people there's someone called HLTCO, who's a massive Palace fan, who is the nicest bloke ever. And he never posts anything controversial, and he gets so much abuse because he's too nice and he's trying to brown nose everyone. It's like you just can't win. Yeah. Like there's no way of avoiding it ever.
We've got a very similar example of that in that James put Nottingham Forest at the top of was it best away grounds to go to? But he called them
I called them Notts Forest.
Yeah. And they're like, we don't care if you put us number one, you're a twat.
We're Nottingham Forest, not Notts Forest.
Yeah, it's just there's just no pleasing.
I'm not a Forest fan, so I just like they just
you try to be nice.
Yeah,
I try to be nice. Put your number one. No, they're like fuck you. Literally.
You and Nottingham County.
Yeah,
Notts Forest and Nottingham County. Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast. I don't know if it'll ever change.
No, I don't think so either. I think your point around Twitter is spot on, and I think, especially where you don't have to show your face, you can you can have Rooney doing his bicycle kick as your profile picture, and you can just say whatever you like.
Yeah, I always want to stop using Twitter because it's just a horrible place, but it just is.
It lures you back in.
Yeah, it's too far. Like it is just still the biggest community of fans. Like it is for Palace fans. It's where you get. Like, it's where you have all your conversation. Like, I tried to do Blue Sky for a bit, and it was nice and friendly, but like, there was barely any Palace fans on there. And also, it's also still the best place for football news, and like, any update you want, you'll get it on Twitter first. And as someone who makes football content, you can't go without that. Like, you'll just be stuck behind other people. But at the same time, I'm on it, and I'm like, why am I giving this guy the light of day? This random bloke who's. Someone threatened me with legal action the other day because I said something about Nottingham Forest, Notts Forest owner. Yeah, and I'm just like, why am I talking to you? Why we would never have this conversation in real life? So why? Oh, yeah.
Be honest. Have you got a burner on Twitter?
I don't.
Use? Oh.
I don't.
One day I want someone to answer that question. And I send loads of hate.
I some of the replies I get, I'm like, I can't imagine caring that much about someone. That I do, even that I do know, let alone that I don't know. People like, I can't say some of them. I won't say any of them out loud. But it's like, oh my god, like how can you think that about someone who you've never spoken to, you've never met before? It's crazy. Yeah. But people are crazy.
we love it now. I feel like if we ever get a negative comment, I think it takes a while for you to like build up the thick skin. But now,
yeah, it does. Yeah.
There was one that fucking bothered me the other day when this.
I don't think you've got the thick skin just yet.
No, but he commented on a video of my baby boy.
Oh yeah, he commented back through mine as well.
I was just like, what are you
Taylor
doing?
Swift fan though.
He commented about something, called me like racist and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, but you've commented on a picture of my fucking son.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They've got no boundaries. Like there's some creators who include their girlfriends or partners in videos. My girlfriend sometimes like, oh, like why don't you get me in this Instagram post? I'm like, you don't want that. Yeah. You do not want that. It's not going to have a positive impact on your mental health. So let's just not go.
I deleted that before my wife woke up, so she didn't see it.
Yeah.
I think I got the same copy paste.
But it was like the nicest video of me, my boy, and my wife having the first year of his life. So it was all the flashbacks. It's like, why have you put that on there?
I mean, these people just don't have any empathy. Like, they just don't understand how the world
You've
works.
attacked something I like, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So
also attacked.
Yeah.
Like
all we did was say she was a little bit overrated, and I don't even know if was she on your list. Oh no, it was.
I can't remember what the comment was, but that was the one. I was like, you fucking little prick. I almost went back. And I was
no,
like,
that's the thing that you shouldn't add fire to fuel to the flame.
It is hard. Not human nature to want to defend yourself, isn't it? I think that's one of the hardest things. Is like not just going back to these people and being like, and maybe that's why it's so toxic. Because like everyone, eventually, if you post enough on Twitter or on TikTok, you're gonna get a comment like that at some point. And your natural instinct is to go back to that, and then you probably just fall into the same pattern of like, well, this person says something I disagree with, so I'm going to tell him to do God knows what.
Yeah,
because he said that Brian Mbuemo is this. Who's this man? Where is he? What's that?
When did you start creating content then?
I first started in, I think like 2017 when I went to uni. A friend of mine was part of a fan channel called 100% Chelsea, which was like quite big a few years ago. And I always quite like writing, and I did journalism at uni. So I kind of wanted to do stuff to kind of like boost my CV. So Talk Crystal Palace used to be a YouTube channel where I just did like match reactions. It's now privated because, it's bad. But then it kind of just like evolved. Like I did that for a bit. I did a lot of like student radio and student TV at uni. I like carried on writing. I used to write for Squawker, articles for them.
Did you do any of the quizzes? I feel like that's the best bit about Squawker.
I did, It was a really good place to work. And I did it while I was at uni, so I could do it remotely. It was great. And then as I stopped it, because YouTube was just like a bit too much effort for me, even though I did it like I didn't edit my videos. I would just like set my camera up and talk for 10 minutes and upload it. And even that was too much effort for me at the time. I was like, oh, that's so long. And then TikTok became a thing. And I just thought like, this is right up my street. Like it's much easier to do. I used to watch football TikTokers a lot, and I thought like, I think I can do this to a decent level. So I think I started my TikTok in like 2022, I think. Would just like sporadically upload, and then it just kind of started to pick up momentum. I used to do a series where I predicted Garth Crooks' team of the week. Yeah,
that was how I first found you.
Which was like I think everyone has that one thing that like people, the OGs, will remember you for, and that was mine. And it's just kind of like snowballed from there, basically. Branched out a bit more now, and then as of next week, it'll be my full-time job.
Exciting,
which is pretty cool. Yeah.
What were you doing, or are you doing full-time until next week? What do you do for job? That was the hardest way to ask.
What is your job?
What is it that you do to earn a living? I actually work in football. I work for a football media company.
Okay.
But I'm in like the commercial team, so I do account management, which has been really useful, I think, in terms of growing my own stuff and working with brands and agencies, because I've been in that position before and know like what people want. But there's not really been much direct overlap between the two. I've done them both side by side, but over the past few months, it's been quite intense. Like I've basically been working full 2 jobs at the same time.
Yeah.
Very little free time. So I'm looking forward to having a bit of time now to do anything that isn't work, which I basically can't do at the moment.
What's coming next with your content then? If you've got this extra time, have you got any new plans, anything different for next season?
I think I will definitely ramp the YouTube back up. I just think that's the natural progression, right? And that's the most time-consuming thing, but is equally the thing where you can reap the most rewards. I'll probably just upload more on TikTok too, and then Yeah, who knows? Maybe the world of podcasting. I've got like a few potential things which might happen, which would be cool. And then just trying to like work with more people and more different. I've been really lucky this year. I've worked with Palace directly. I've worked with the Premier League. Like those are relationships I want to try and like continue growing. But that, I guess, the exciting / extremely anxiety-inducing thing about it is I don't really know what will happen.
Do you feel like being pigeonholed as just Palace can prevent you from?
Yeah.
Are you going to try and do something about that and do different things in football?
That's why he does so much Arsenal stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Palace thing is interesting because I think being a Palace fan gives me a really unique position because obviously we're in the Premier League and we're a well-known club and a well-respected club, so people like broadly care about your opinion. But because we're not one of the biggest teams, I can kind of be positioned as a neutral, or as an Arsenal fan now. And like it's been about trying to find a balance really of like, I'm a Palace fan, and if we win the FA Cup, I'm not going to shut up about it. But equally, it's not the only thing that I make content about. So it's kind of towing the line almost. And obviously Palace's recent success has very much coincided with my own growth, and that's been like amazing. But it'd be interesting to see like if, God forbid, we got relegated, would that affect my audience or my? I don't know. It's difficult to know if that's a big component of my persona, really. But I think I like to be known as a Palace fan. I want people to know that I am a Palace fan, and that's my perspective for football. But I don't want it to be like this guy knows nothing about football other than Palace. Yeah. It's an interesting balance to find. I think. Yeah.
If you could have any job in football that isn't content related, what would you want to be? You can't be the eagle for Crystal Palace.
Oh, okay. All right then. I think I'd always like to be like a presenter. Like as I said, I did student radio a lot at uni. We did fight night in our student union, which like every uni does, and we had like a proper production for it, which used to live stream on YouTube, and I was like the lead presenter of that quite a few times. I really liked that. I think like having done journalism, I've kind of always dreamt of doing something similar to that. When I used to play football in my garden, I'd always like commentate to myself. Maybe be a commentator. I think I'd be a good commentator, but that's a difficult thing to get into. You got to do the hard yards. Yeah, you got to go and commentate like God knows what to get into that. It's hard.
Bromley versus Barrow.
That's the name of a WhatsApp group I'm in called the Hard Yards.
Really?
We're doing all the England games to get to the World Cup. And
that is the definition of hard yards. Andorra away.
I got to clip that. We did that at the weekend.
Yeah, there's worse than that. Going to Barcelona. Was it in Barcelona?
Yeah, Barcelona. Yeah.
Barcelona.
That's why you were out there. That makes sense. I was like, why have you gone to Barcelona for 2 nights? That'd be why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that's the reason I was?
No.
Oh, no. There you go.
God, that's tough. How many are you gonna have to go to every game to get tickets for the States?
Close to every game, yeah.
Well, at least you didn't have to do last.
But the Wembley one's easy. You just go in 2 minutes, leave, then you get your points. Or you can spin the turnstile and not even go in.
Have you ever done that or not?
No.
So does it help that you can just say to your missus, if I want to go to the World Cup, like I've got to go to Barcelona this weekend? Don't worry, she won't watch this. She only watches
heavily pregnant, and she had a toddler to look after, so she probably didn't have the best weekend ever. But she said she knows the thing I want to go and do. So
love that.
And she's like, well, when the boys are old enough, you can take them.
Those caps will be worth it.
Yeah,
fair enough. You now have the chance to rebrand Crystal Palace. You can give it a new name, new mascot, colours. Has to be different.
It has to be different.
Yeah,
I love the Palace kit at the moment. Last year's kit was class.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. The stripes
iconic now.
Yeah.
What would you go for?
Oh, that's such a difficult question because it's obviously just. I feel like we have a strong brand.
Yeah,
the Eagle.
We've seen the thing on Twitter when the Americans are doing the football teams now.
Yeah.
So it's like, can you rebrand like Crystal Palace, and they'll come up with a name for it and a kit, and it's just like, oh my god.
It's just like there is whatever I say is going to sound weird. You know what I mean? Because people, you know what? Maybe the first thing I would do is I would move Palace into Crystal Palace because we don't play Crystal Palace right now.
Underneath, isn't it?
And it's like, I don't know, is it South Norwood? Yeah, similar in that neck of the woods. But in Crystal Palace, there is Crystal Palace Park, and there's an old, very run-down athletic stadium. I would move Palace into there first of all.
That'd be cool.
Really get the fans on side. People love it when you move stadiums. Then I'd maybe just lean into can I keep the name? Yeah. Could we be
I'll
called
let you
Crystal
keep
Palace?
the name if you say someone else controversial in the clip.
I think moving stadium is
I'll allow it.
I'd then maybe move the branding into more like Crystal, because Crystal Palace was actually like a building, and our old badge used to be like a little Crystal Palace. It's not anymore. It's now obviously just an eagle. So I'd maybe move the branding back to a Crystal Palace shaped thing.
Are you killing the eagle?
The eagle's getting the boot. Well, I've got to. You told me.
Fair enough.
I
didn't think you'd actually kill an eagle.
Yeah, physically kill the mascot. I wouldn't do that, just to be clear. Don't worry. And then the colours. What would I change the colours to? I guess you kind of got free reign then, haven't you? 'Cause there's no. I'm trying to think if there's anything like in Crystal Palace that
Could just be a kit you like.
Maybe I'd go like green.
All wearing a referee kit.
Like, I'd go like a dark green.
Okay. Any like touch points to reference it?
Well, not really. I think
fair enough.
the sign. I'm thinking about this. The signs to the park, like they have like these old like historic signs around the park pointing you to like Annerley Hill and Crystal Palace Parade, and they are dark green. So maybe I'll just like really lean into the history of the actual Crystal Palace. And then our nickname would be. It used to be the Glaziers, which is like a glass related thing can I go back to that? Because that was also related to Crystal Palace being made of glass.
Okay.
Nice.
I think that off the cuff, that was pretty good.
I'm actually, fair play. You've thought about that before.
I know you want to segue into this next bit, but I want to ask you about the Crystal Palace Stadium.
Yeah.
Because I've heard about that. Is it Linford Christie Athletics track or something?
The one, yeah.
Do you think fans would want to move there? Or do you think they want to redevelop where you're at now?
I think they want to I don't think any. Well, maybe I'm wrong because Brentford moved stadium, didn't they?
Yeah.
Was that a popular thing? Before I answer my
It was
question,
needed though, really.
It was honestly a shithole.
Yeah, I think every football fan would rather stay, especially because we've been at Selhurst Park for 100 years this season.
I really like it.
It's great
As an away fan.
Yeah,
I got a lot of stick for saying that I like the DJ in the bar in the outside bit. It's just great.
Yeah,
like you get to sit outside, you can have a little smoke, like DJ on. It's just like it's just fun.
It's a proper stadium, as people say. But obviously, where it's situated, it's very limited in terms of what you can do to it. So I don't know if you've heard, we're trying to build the main stand, but it's connected to a Sainsbury's, and Sainsbury's were refusing to sell. Like we're offering them like millions of pounds. They were just like, no. I wouldn't be against moving to Crystal Palace Park. I think that'd be pretty cool. And that was spoken about when Simon Jordan was our owner. I listened to his autobiography the other day, which is really funny. I'd recommend listening to it because he reads it on Spotify, and you could just hear the bitterness in his voice when he's getting annoyed about things. But he explored moving us to the park and didn't for whatever. I think it was just too expensive. But I wouldn't be. I live relatively near the park, so I'd be pretty happy because it would be really ideal for me. Yeah. But at the same time, Selhurst Park is just so iconic. I can't imagine us playing somewhere else.
No. If we could do that, I'd move Arsenal back to Woolwich Arsenal as well. Just ease of down the road. I feel like everyone would want that. But
back to your roots.
That's it. So you've redesigned the club. Feels like a good time to look at the top 5 ugliest football badges.
Yeah.
And that's when you get to step up, mate.
Top 5 worst badges in football. What's your number 5?
Number 5 is actually considerably better than the other 4 I've got, but I've gone for Man City. I don't like that badge. I just don't like that style of it's just modern very rebrand. New gen, and I don't really like it. It's not. I will say I struggled with the 5th one. So this was I had to include one. The other 4 are considerably worse, I think.
Yeah, their old badge is much better.
Yeah, it is.
And so many teams have just done that circular. Yeah, it's easy for social media and things like that. That's why. But
it's within brand guidelines.
That's
what it is.
Did you say these woke badges?
My number 5, I'm just going to go Juventus.
Yeah.
I really hate the modern trend of like modernizing all badges and simplifying them. The old badges are so much better. I just like the oval with the little zebra on it, the stripes. I feel like they ruined it by just putting a big J on it.
Definitely agree.
Devil's advocate. I quite like the new Juventus one, and I've had stick for that before. I just think it's quite sleek.
It's fucking shit.
I also just associate it with Juventus like not being as good.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
And Ronaldo.
It's because they've like fallen off a bit since the new badge. I'm just like, old Juventus was so much better.
I was thinking about how many iconic Juventus kits there are with that old badge on them.
Yeah,
like,
What player first comes to mind?
Del Piero.
Del Piero. Yeah.
I was gonna say Nedved.
Yeah.
It's a nice. It's also not that like that badge.
It's
not complicated. When you talk about like brand guidelines and stuff, that surely can't be that difficult to replicate.
Well, the old Juventus badge.
Yeah.
It's just a nice and sleek badge.
No, there was no need to change.
They've taken everything away from it.
Yeah, I don't like minimalism on a badge. Just yeah.
It's got heritage.
Yeah, so sit back down, Curtis. It's a shit
Listen,
badge.
I didn't say I prefer it, but I don't mind it.
Drink your litre of orange juice.
Get stuck into that bit, see. My number 4, I've gone for Bournemouth.
Oh.
It's just a bit weird. Like, someone said it looks like a player just like flicking the ball on.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't that like meant to be a mermaid?
Oh,
have I made that up?
I think it is meant to be a mermaid.
It looks like a shampoo bottle.
I just don't
for
really
me.
get it.
Yeah, it looks like the Weller logo or
Yeah,
something.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, to me, that has a similar vibe to Man City's badge. And I don't know what it is. That literally is the Weller. Yeah.
Oh, what's going on?
I don't know what it is. Like, it's just the modern colours, and it feels clunky. It feels like a clunky badge.
I will say I quite like the shield shape.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
And the gold text.
Yeah, the gold text
is good.
It's just the actual artwork.
Yeah.
It's also got the generic football, like.
The side by side.
The football is probably.
I just don't really get it.
It's like clip art.
Yeah.
It is like clip art. Yeah.
Yeah. The side by side of the two with the.
It's a good job we won't get slated in the comments because Bournemouth have no fans.
Don't say that. They're all going to come now.
I can't believe you were saying that about Bournemouth before the show, Ollie.
I like Bournemouth. I just don't like their badge. Okay. Love their kit though. Love their kit.
Speaking of clubs with no fans, I'm gonna go very niche. Columbus Crew. Their new badge is absolutely
got a new
honking.
one?
Yeah,
Mate, I had their old one on my.
the old one was incredible. Like the free like
Yeah, that's
miners.
what I'm showing. Oh, but it's gone. Oh no, yeah.
That is
Which one's the new one?
bottom right.
Oh, okay.
I used to have that one on the top right. That was my ultimate team badge for like 4 years.
Yeah.
I think
So
that was everyone's
especially-
ultimate. It was that or Seattle Sounders that everyone had.
Yeah,
that was their team.
That's
Starter in your bronze pack, wasn't it?
that is very that's very MLS.
Well, the new
That
one.
badge, yeah.
The top left one's
That's
sick.
very cool.
Again, it's just going down the whole trend of like
The
simplifying everything and modernizing it.
There's obviously I get the business rationale, but it just doesn't look as cool.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's a good one. And number 4. No, the top 3 is where it gets difficult for me. I think I'm gonna go third. I'm gonna go West Ham third.
Interesting.
I just don't. I think when you look at Man City, Bournemouth, and West Ham badge, they all have a similar vibe to them, and I just don't like any of them.
The other one is
I quite like the West Ham badge.
What,
I don't.
The other one, I'm on the wrong screen.
think
it was
it's
just
nice
so
that
cool
they-
before that.
Yeah, it's the old one's better, but I still think this one's not as bad as.
It feels so flat though. There's no
Yeah.
like
Isn't the reason
just
that they
very
changed it?
colours.
Isn't the reason they changed it is because they moved stadiums though?
Yeah, no
And-
longer at the
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like obviously, I think that is like
Yeah.
the best
The
like
hammers.
Premier League calling card.
Yeah.
But like outside of that, which that's a tap in for them. I just don't. It's just it looks like I feel like I could have designed that in a few minutes.
Let me simplify this for you. West Ham, good fans, shit ground, shit badge, shit club.
I like how you put good fans, so they
didn't say
don't
that.
all.
If anyone wants to beat him up, he lives in South East London.
Good fans though. Good fans.
The stadium is maybe I'm
Awful.
biased because the stadium is a
worst
terrible place to watch football.
stadium.
The worst place to watch
Ever.
football in the world.
Yeah.
my number 3, any Red Bull club. So RB Leipzig, Salzburg, the New York one. I just think it's a massive marketing scheme and it really grinds my gears. I don't like the whole thing of like a company owning multiple clubs and just having the same badge.
I mean, unpopular opinion, I think they're pretty cool.
That is a cool badge.
But I get the rationale.
The rationale
the rationale
behind
I can definitely get behind. I just think it looks cool.
It's not Red Bull. It's Russian Ball Sport.
Yes.
So
no connection to Red
affiliation
Bull.
with Red Bull
Sure.
whatsoever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have Leeds? They've not changed. Have they changed their badge?
No. They went to do the classic.
But they're part of the Red Bull
They are
group
now,
now, aren't
yeah.
they? But they've still got the same badge.
Yeah, badge.
The RB group. Sorry.
Mm.
I just think like by doing that, you're just commercializing football to a degree that
Yeah.
shouldn't be
I think it's a
happening.
bit late for that.
Whoa.
Football, very commercialised. The toothpaste out the tube.
Yes.
Good way of putting it. My number 2, Juventus. I mean,
Yep.
it just is
Yep.
terrible. Unfortunately for them, there's no. We don't need. I don't think
No.
do that.
Agreed. My number 2, Coventry City. It's just such a loud badge.
Is it still their old one?
Yeah.
That's just classic
It's,
though.
but it's so loud.
love
Like
that.
there's
Yeah,
just
I
so
like
many
it.
colours.
That's a good badge.
Yeah.
I don't
It's got
know.
an elephant with a medic jacket on.
There is a logo. Is that a phoenix on the? Is it meant to be a phoenix on the right with the fire?
Yeah.
The one on the left looks like the liver bird.
There is a lot going on that.
Yeah.
That might be my new favourite badge.
Can I be a Coventry City fan? Great badge.
I like that. But that's such a classic EFL badge.
Yeah.
Or like
100%.
Empower League One
But
badge.
I think
Yeah.
this is a badge that could do with a bit of modernizing. That's the one. Not too much, not to simplify it, but just make it a little bit cleaner.
It is difficult to rebrand now in a way that's like good. But I actually think, unbiased opinion, obviously, Palace rebranded in 2013 and it was actually good. Like I think our badge got better, which is rare these days. Should I go for my number 1?
Yeah, far away.
I mean, everything about this club, the badge typifies it. MK Dons,
Oh.
Yeah.
who like, sorry if you're an MK Dons fan, but
So no one.
just it's a tap-in.
Yeah.
It's a horrible badge. It's a
it
horrible
is.
concept.
Yeah.
As just a I just don't. I mean, what are they doing with the writing on the left?
Have they changed to this one?
Was that
or is this a fan? I think, they've changed to this.
Oh, they've
section,
changed. I
which
still hate
is-
that.
It's still, I mean, the original honking,
Yeah, terrible.
but that again is still terrible. And they've just gone, how do we make a modern badge?
yeah.
That's
It's not nice. There's just nothing to it, which I guess is it's difficult when you're a new club and you've got to
When you've
build your own
stolen
identity.
another-
Maybe in 100 years this will be like super iconic, but right now,
that red
why
dot
is it
too
red?
big. It's too big as well. The
It-
spacing. What have you done?
Yeah,
Terrible.
all my homies hate MK Dons. You know, no offense, MK Dons, but
Lots of offence.
but
Alright.
I hate you.
My number 1, we kind of spoke about it. Glad it didn't come to fruition, but the Leeds redesign, I think it's just the absolute worst of the
It's
worst.
actually jokes.
It is so funny.
Why did that? Did they basically get bullied out of doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the
Yeah,
fans.
absolutely. Because I think they
Yeah, that is
even.
fucking terrible.
They-
I've not
they-
seen that before.
Have you not?
Oh,
that
mate. When
I've
this got
seen it.
announced on Twitter, that was a crazy day.
It was like done. They announced this is going to be our new badge. We're rebranding. I think they'd done like all the artwork for the
Yeah.
stadium, everything, and the fans were like, "Are you fucking joking?"
It looks like
It's
a fucking
that
like
bad.
NHS
Yeah.
badge. Like it's just
Yeah, that's
so
something
strange.
that Boris would have released during COVID to
Yeah.
like, what was it? Hands, face, space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I've
badge.
never heard that before either. Hands, face, space.
Was that
Really?
That was it. Hands, face, space.
Yeah. God, mate, what have you been doing? You've missed all the big rebrands of the last
Coughing
10
on
years.
people.
Missed COVID, I think.
Yeah, COVID,
Can I
what was
give an
that?
honourable mention?
Go for it.
With my club's badge, Brentford FC's
Yeah.
old badge.
As in, that's good or bad?
The old one is fucking shit.
That one, yeah. That is
Yeah, that is bad.
Our badge has got better, but that one was.
But your badge is still that like
It's just the
copy
modern.
and paste.
Yeah, I
change
know
the
it's copy and
colour.
paste, but it's a lot better than what it was.
The big,
Yeah.
the
The-
big
the-
skull.
I quite like
the
the
old,
old one.
stick that on a shirt, like the old one.
Yeah, what does it even go with?
It's not great. What are the three? What are the three swords about?
It's just Middlesex. That's the
Oh
county
yeah,
badge.
of course it is.
Uh,
Of course.
Yeah, it's a weird
I
badge.
quite like
that.
the old one, to be fair. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Mine is the founded 1889 that you can't read on the white and red
that's-
stripes.
That's just poor. That's poor UX. That poor UX. But it's difficult, like, because obviously everyone is very nostalgic. It's very difficult to look at an old badge and be like, I hate that, because people are just like, oh no, that was amazing. The in reality, it might not have been. You know.
Yeah, but the new Brentford badge again, it's just a B. That's all it. Oh, it's just a weird one. But
I mean, other than Brentford, what clubs have done a good rebrand? It's
I think Arsenal's in the 2000s was solid. Like with the whole move, we updated like the badge, and I feel like the
What did the-
Emirates
what did the badge change to?
were just when we took it from being more of just the cannon into like the crest and the fonts and tried to modernise it.
Arsenal have had some good badges though. Some incredible badges.
I nearly included the Wigan badge. I don't really like the Wigan badge. Yeah. But again, it's so similar to Man City, West Ham. It's actually very similar to Brentford's.
Yeah, but they've had it for a while.
I like a badge that you can't really read or can't really understand, you know?
Talking of things you can't really read or understand. Garth Crooks Team of the Week. So I want to go back to that. That was obviously the content that I first saw of yours. I think you could probably say it was what kind of blew you up into wider notice. What is the worst pick you've ever seen from Garth Crooks in Team of the Week? Like, you see right wingers at left back and left wingers at right, like all over the place.
Yeah.
What's the worst pick you've had?
What is the worst one? At least there are some historic ones where like he's playing like a 3-1-5-2 formation, whatever, and people are just like, what is that setup? In terms of actual like player selections, he once included Joel Matip and said that he played well in a game that he didn't play in. And it was like, because it was a game where Liverpool played twice. He was like, yeah, he was really good in this game. It was like, he didn't play.
Brilliant.
David De Gea got included once and he didn't make a single save. It was where Nottingham Forest. He was like, yeah, I thought De Gea was like really solid. No saves all game. They're probably the two that stand out. He also, I think there was one, you know, the season when, I think it was 21-22 where Salah was like on like Ballon d'Or form at the start of the season. He did his Team of the Year 2021. He didn't have Salah in it, even though like he was like at that point he was like the best player in the world, like almost undisputed best player in the world. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, he's had some stinkers, but those are the ones that really like stand out. I did like a quiz of this once, and I think it was another Team of the Year where he didn't include like. It was like they were just
Were you worried for your career in social media when it was announced he was no longer doing it?
Yeah, obviously it's kind of what we spoke about earlier with Palace. It's like, God, do people just follow me for Garth Crooks related content? And I was already worried it was going a bit stale because like the videos, they were actually fairly consistently performing worst out of all of the videos I did, but obviously they were like a real core of what I did, so I didn't want to stop doing it. So I came up, mate. I had this whole thing planned, and it would have been so good, and it was called Garth Man Standing. It's like Last Man Standing, where you like, I'd like built this whole game, and it was like each week you got to pick a player who you think is going to be in the Team of the Week, and if you get it right, you stay in. If you get it wrong, you're out, and you're going to pick the same player once. Like I built this whole thing out, like it was going to be unreal, and then it got announced that he wasn't going to be doing it, and I was like, oh my God. And Troy Deeney is obviously like he's still people like to laugh at him.
Yeah.
But his teams they're just quite rational. Like I tried to react to them. I'm like, you know what? That's actually just a good shout.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of annoying. But thankfully it didn't have too big an effect. But I quite like that it's like.
That was a bookend in that for your channel. Yeah, you got to move
exactly. On. It meant that like I had to move past that. And also of all things to be known for on TikTok or whatever, I think like being the Garth Crooks guy is a pretty good one in terms of like it's pretty harmless and like fun rather than like, oh, you're that guy who went mental after Palace lost. You don't want to be known as that person.
You can select 5 players, past or present, or football pundits to go on a night out. Who are you picking?
To go on a night out. Oh God, I've got to have to think about that. Past or present. I mean, there's obviously some obvious ones like Micah Richards would just be fun. Like
he'd be bursting onto the scene, of course.
Yeah, right, bursting right onto that scene. Maybe I like Daniel Sturridge. I think Daniel Sturridge is good vibes.
Just be doing this.
I'm going for like fun.
Have you put bets on?
Huh?
You'd be putting bets on.
Oh yeah, he did like a bet, didn't he?
Is Garth Crooks not making it?
He's just a bit of a strange guy. I actually tried to get in touch with him when I was doing this and be like, can I like do a video with you? I had a connection at the BBC and I was like, do you think he'd be keen? And he was like, oh, I'll ask around. And he was like, yeah, like, I don't think Garth really has much of a sense of humour about this kind of thing. And I was like, right.
He's not very self-aware.
I was like, yeah, he obviously like doesn't, like, reading between the lines, he doesn't like you. He doesn't like what you're doing. I was like, fair enough. Maybe I will go Garth Crooks just for the law would be crazy, mate. Yeah. Me and Garth hitting up, like, some random place in... Where would we go? Where's he from? Is he from Nottingham?
He's from Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not something I am aware of.
What do you mean you don't know that?
Yeah, you don't want to go on an night in Stoke-on-Trent. God.
Oh, terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. maybe. Yeah, I'd include Garth for that. Who else would there be? Am I missing someone obvious? Thierry Henry?
I was going to just say Thierry Henry, yeah.
But then you don't want to just become another CBS broadcast. Do you know what I mean? I need to have some.
If Thierry Henry's in the room, absolutely.
He's the coolest guy ever.
Got to take Roy Keane, I think, just because if you get in a fight, he's protection.
He's a lunatic.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun group, I think. Yeah. Who would you have?
Like
have I missed any names there?
Well, Thierry and Arsene have
John Stones.
That's it. Yeah.
Wagwan General.
Stones.
Yeah, Wagwan General. Okay, so they're your best people for a night out, but I want to hear your top 5 worst people in football. Let's hear it.
Okay, I've got the 5. It's how I order them. I'll go number 5. João Pedro. I just hate João Pedro. Obviously, he plays for Brighton. Doesn't help. Also, he's just a bit of a
lunatic.
Yeah, like that when he nearly that was against Brentford, wasn't it? When he threw that elbow.
Yeah, against Yarmulke.
And it was like if he actually connected with that, like he probably would have knocked him out.
Yeah.
How that wasn't a red card. And also, I feel comfortable saying that because I know that a lot of Brighton fans don't like him either. And if your own fan base don't really like you, then you can't be very nice. Yeah. And I actually won't go to that. But yeah, João Pedro, number 5.
Forgotten about that elbow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that lives rent free in my head, that elbow. I hate that guy.
Enough. I feel like he's not even the most controversial Brighton striker in the last few years. Obviously, Neil Maupay is hated.
Great player.
Brentford legend. Unironic, Brentford legend.
In at number 5 for me, I've gone for someone on social media. I've gone for TalkCPFC.
He was my number 1.
No, I can't put you in the list. I am going to go for Gunnosaurus.
What? Mate, R.I.P. Gunnosaurus.
Yeah, I guess he is still involved. He is still there on match days. Just annoys me.
Why?
I can't explain it. He wants it to be all about him.
I can imagine you being a mascot.
I want it to be all about it.
Right. So, the guy, this is a direct call out of the actual guy. So he worked, I don't know if he still does, worked for the club. He was just part of the club. And he would literally take the Gunnosaurus suit and do his own things with it. I just don't like Gunnosaurus. So, yeah.
I can definitely see you doing that job for some reason.
Fair enough.
That's a good thing.
But the problem is,
the game.
I'm a sweaty man. I get hot easily. You wouldn't want me in that suit. That would be bad.
I think Arsenal do.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're going to get the call up. Number 4, I'm going to go for... Who should I go for here? I'll go for Infantino, FIFA president. The fact that you can get a sticker of him is it in the World Cup or the Club World Cup sticker album? You can get one of him, like a shiny Infantino. It's like, come on.
That is another case of making it all about yourself.
Exactly. It's very... Gunnosaurus and Infantino are like... Maybe he is Gunnosaurus. Have you ever seen them in the same room as each other? Crazy plot twist. Yeah, I mean, it's basically whoever is in charge of FIFA right now, probably going to be top of the list.
Yeah, valid. Number 4 for me, Rio Ferdinand. Made lists before. I just don't like him. And another one, I feel like this is a common theme, if they make it all about themselves.
Yeah.
Every bit of commentary, the whole Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or. That is the worst clip I've ever seen in football.
Do you see his Mount Rushmore the other day?
No.
His Mount Rushmore of Premier League midfielders, and they had 6 people on it.
Brilliant.
They started putting over Mount Rushmore was maybe 4.
Yeah.
It's like, well, good effort, but...
He's also a terrible pundit.
Don't like him as a bloke. Don't like him as a pundit. Don't like him.
I think that's... Well, he's leaving TNT now, isn't he?
I'll put him down as a maybe then.
I don't know who to go for number 3. I had a few options. But I think I will go for Lee Gunner, who we spoke about earlier.
Sure.
I just think how can you build an audience based on hating your own team, which is what he's done.
Yeah.
And I respect you know the whole what phase is he in thing that he does. Have you ever seen him do that? Mm-hmm. It's a crazy gimmick to run every single game that he's on. But I'm I just don't rate not rating your own team.
Yeah. I'm going to go on a really similar vein with that one, and I'm going to go Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV. I think
he's built an empire, mate.
Exactly. He's built an empire on the downfall of his own team. He is the happiest in the stadium when Arsenal are not doing well, and he is everything wrong with football culture in that he benefits off of negativity.
Big call out this.
No, I stand by it.
That was your number 3, was it?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
if you're in the top 2, best of luck.
Jesus.
I feel like number 1, I've gone for an easy option, number 1. But number 2, mate, right now, Marinakis, Forest owner.
Yeah.
If that man gets us kicked out of Europe, I already look, the whole, when they tweeted about the VAR guy being a Luton fan last year, I just thought that was embarrassing. I think this whole Gary Neville banning him from the City ground, I'm just like, come on.
Incredible, yeah.
Come on. It's, you're a Premier League team. I have a real thing about, I think, and this is an epidemic in football right now. Football fans or clubs thinking like they're the victims of the whole football storyline, and oh my god, everyone hates us. It's like everyone hates everyone in football. It's just how it works. Like, just get over it. And so he already was pushing top 5 on my list. To then write to UEFA about Palace.
Yeah.
Stay out of it, lad.
Yeah.
Hate that guy.
Didn't he? I don't know if I'm making this up. Didn't he bring a gun onto the pitch once when he was in Greece?
Gunny.
Well, there's a Nottingham Forest fan who's going around threatening
play with
legal
Gunny.
action on every Palace fan who says anything bad about Marinakis. So for legal reasons, I'm not going to comment on that. He was also and this is a legal fact. He was like a suspect in a massive drug case,
Right.
which he's been cleared of.
But
he was a suspect.
Quickly clarify, it was the PAOK owner, Greek-Russian businessman Savidis, stormed the pitch, accompanied by bodyguards with Gunny. After how we've just teed up the last 2, my number 2 of Bruno Fernandes, which is quite interesting. But look, United fans.
Number 2 is Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes. You'd love to have him playing for your team. You hate playing against him. He is the definition for me of like a ratty footballer. And
I like him. Can I just put that out there? It's because of what you said. Like, you would love to have him on your team, and we had a player Zaha was like that. People used to hate Zaha, but I was like, I know what it's like.
Nowhere near.
Not even close.
But a lot of people hate Zaha. I agree that they're not on the same level, but I look at Bruno, I'm like, you know what? I would love you on my team. Number 1, I mean, it's just Joey Barton. For just so many different reasons. I actually feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
He has his Common Sense podcast, which all he does is talk about women's football for like an hour a week. And I'm like, yeah, mate, we get it. You don't like women's football. Have you got any other topics you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh, football's gone woke. Shut up, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Jason's number 1 subscriber to that pod. No, do you know what? I did have Joey Barton in my original list, but one of my most viewed videos was playing with Joey Barton's pro FIFA card because I managed to get.
I actually remember that. The Marseille one.
Yeah, 95 blue cards. So for that reason, he's not one of the worst people in football.
He's my top 5 favourite people in football.
So in at number 1, that was
my number 1. Yeah.
In at number 1 for me, he's not as involved in football nowadays. It's Jake Humphrey.
High performance Jake.
I can't stand Jake Humphrey.
He's had a really weird career arc.
Yeah.
I remember him doing the F1 on BBC, and I was like, this guy's class. And I was like, oh,
everyone that talks about like him as the presenter, like all the pundits, all the other players just said he was a nightmare. All the clips.
I've heard that before as well, actually.
Everything he does just annoys me.
He's one of those, we spoke earlier about how like a lot of people have a bad reputation, but then often when you meet them, or you like met someone who knows them, like a good example of this is loads of people hate Thogden, but like I've not met.
How's he not in the list? Fucking hell.
It's because
I've met him and he was a lovely chap.
That's what I mean. People are like, he's a really nice guy when you talk to him, but I've heard the same. Like people who have met Jake Humphrey are like, yeah, he's unbearable.
And even like,
how is Thogden not in anyone's list?
No, it's a good point.
Well, because Thogden's clip where he's at the Burnabout, he's going, guys, calm down. It's just football. It's my favourite ever football clip.
No, the one where he's like doing the it's like, they're not doing it for you. Then he applauds them at the end.
I do want to talk about Thogden. Do you think it's real?
In what way?
Do you think he is a character, or do you think he really thinks the things he thinks? And
I think he thinks who he is.
I lean towards that as well. I think 'cause he's been doing it for so long. Like he's been. I mean, he's young. He's still young. How old is Thogden?
He's probably about
early 20s.
23.
My guess was 24.
I reckon he's like 22.
No, he's been around so
he
long.
started vlogging, he was like 14, didn't he?
24, so April 7th, 2001.
But think how long he's been going for. Like he's a stalwart of the football scene. He's 24. I just think like maybe I don't want to say he's gone to his head because that sounds harsh, but like he's also had some mad opportunities. To be fair to him, like he's done everything. Yeah. Like he was at didn't he go to every World Cup game?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
that was a bit of a weird challenge, though. That wasn't it? He had to go to every game. He left
everyone at the same time.
Yeah, so he leave after like 10.
Yeah, he got slated for that, didn't he? Because people were like, he was like, "God, this challenge is so hard."
Yeah,
and people were like, "Shut up!
Can I
go to every World Cup game?"
I'd like to just read something off his famousbirthdays.com. He posted an Instagram photo with superstar rapper will.i.am in May 2016. His mother knows will.i.am through a friend.
Really?
What?
Maybe that's how he got. Mate, he's an industry plant. I knew
that's
it. will.i.am helping him out. Because does he still? I will admit, I don't and have never watched his videos. They're not really for me. But he was originally just like a Bolton vlogger. Is that right?
Yeah. I again, that's similar. I only ever see him on like TikTok and as clips. But yeah, I can't believe that it's all real and he really thinks he's orchestrating the crowd.
Yeah,
El Clasico.
Well, I guess if you just
because it's mental.
Because I'm assuming if he's 24, he's been around for at least 10 years. At least, I think. Like I remember he's like a kid doing it. I guess like you probably like it's like when people become like child stars. Yeah. It's like a football YouTube. Yeah, it is. You probably just lose a sense of not lose a sense of reality, but you don't get life experience.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on the podcast. To be honest, you should
reach out to him
to unpick.
Maybe delete the clip of me saying we hate him.
And if he doesn't reply, you can post it. I love that. Love that. We are going to look at the Premier League midfielders and we want you to rank them A to D for a tier list.
It's already a joke. There's no Brentford players on there.
Well, I'm adding 2 extras in. We're going to start off with our 2 favourite. Mikael Damsgaard.
Why is Brian and Bremer not on there?
Mikael Damsgaard. He's not A. No offence. No offence.
This goes all the way to D. So if we're putting him in that
D. He's not D. I think he's B.
B.
This season he's B.
Okay. Adam Wharton.
Woo! A.
Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, but I don't want to just pile up A now, but he is definitely A.
That's why I think putting Damsgaard in a B is generous with...
Put Fernandes in the C list.
I'm putting A. I'll be harsher on the other ones.
Okay. KDB.
Well, I mean A.
Everyone's going to be A apart from Damsgaard.
Yeah.
Tonali.
Just to space it out, I'll put him in B. But this year he's been unreal.
Just to space it out, everybody is in A and B currently. Yeah. Bruno Guimaraes.
A. I mean, maybe I've gone too generous too early.
Yeah.
Are there worse people than Mikael Damsgaard on this list?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, maybe. It's subjective. Martin Odegaard.
At the moment, B. You could this season you could even have him lower than that this season.
I would.
This season I'll put him C. This season.
Get him up.
Just to be clear.
Good to see. Okay. Moises Caicedo.
A. That might be my last A tier though, I think. I say that. Rodri.
Eberechi.
I think he's B.
Yeah.
B tier. Yeah. I don't think I could put him in A.
Morgan Rogers.
B as well.
Morgan Gibbs-White.
I think Gibbs-White's a bit overrated. Whole take. So I'll put him in C.
Okay. Thomas Partey.
D.
It's a long list, this.
Szoboszlai's actually a bit underrated. I think he had a pretty good year for Liverpool. So I'll put him B. No, I'll put him C. Okay. I can't have him above Odegaard. That's silly.
Declan Rice.
A.
Rodri.
God, you said one more player and I'll do like...
Okay, that'll do. Thank you for your list. Blind ranking, football wonder kids. First up, Rayan Cherki.
Oh. Mate, well, like, Ryan Cherki went from, like, no one really cared to, like, oh, my God, he's the GOAT last week. And I'm going to put him, like, he has just... I'm going to go 4.
Okay.
Is that low? I think he's a bit, like overrated right now.
Okay. Musiala.
Oh, he's class, to be fair. Like, is there anyone better than? I'll put him 2. I'll leave space. You've always got to do 2 and 4 first. It's just such an easy little.
Yeah, this isn't your first rodeo.
Yeah.
I did this last week. Went horribly wrong. Denzel Washington was 5. Not in Wonder Kids, obviously.
Yeah, Football Wonder Kids is probably a good ranking for him, to be fair.
Endrick.
Oh, that's. I think I always end up with 1 and 5 left over though, but he's definitely not better than Musiala right now. Is he better than? No, I'll put him 3 because like he is like really highly rated, isn't he? Oh, I've got 1 and 5 left.
Lamine Yamal.
I mean, but now he's going to be like Wharton number 5. I mean, Yamal's got to be number 1. He is number 1.
So that means, of course, in at 5th, or if you can find another number, Jude Bellingham.
Stinker. I should have put Cherky lower, mate. Ah,
good list.
I mean,
like that. Do you want to defend your position?
No, I mean, I'm a big Jude Bellingham fan. I've got no. There are some people. I think there are some people who would actually try and argue Bellingham is the worst of those 5 players, and I am not one of those people. Just to be clear.
How good do you think his brother is?
I don't really know. How old is he? 19.
He's just signed a contract with Dortmund. Didn't he?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to know. Like, I've not watched loads of him, but like he'll. It's almost impossible to judge how good he is because he's always going to be. Right now, it's just like, oh, he's Jude Bellingham's brother, therefore it's just nepotism, and he's only getting the Dortmund move because he's a Bellingham. But what I've seen him, he is pretty good. But he's very different to Jude. He could play. Does he play deeper? When I watched him in the playoffs, he was like defending for his life.
Yeah, I think you're asking the wrong people, to be honest.
I wanted him at Palace. He was linked to Palace before Sunderland came up, but then obviously Dortmund, they're not gonna.
Do you think though? You say people say it's nepotism. Is it? Do you think he would have got that move if his name wasn't?
I would like to think that football has gone past that. Of like, I don't think you can get a move just because of who you are in football anymore. Like same, who was? Oh, people say that about Mbuemo. They're like, oh, if he had like a skin fade, he'd be worth 100 mil. I'm like, yeah, but we're talking about the Premier League here. Like, they are not that stupid. Do you know what I mean? I really don't buy that narrative.
I've seen those comments.
Yeah, it's like put a head of hair in this guy's best player in the world. Like, no, he would still be rated the same.
I think a skin fade would give him an extra 15 million.
Yeah, I'd pay 20 mil more for it. I think.
Have you seen his arse though? That's
worth, you know what? That's not the first.
That's worth 65 minutes in itself.
Yeah,
unreal.
I think football is that like blind though. I do think cooler players, you just associate them with.
Yeah, but like someone like Kevin De Bruyne, like he's just like a bit of a neek. and that's fine, but he's like everyone knows he's unreal. Do you think if De Bruyne looked like who's like an attractive footballer? Jude Bellingham,
Calafiori.
If De Bruyne looked like Calafiori, would people rate him high? I don't buy that anymore.
Do you think De Bruyne has always been rated the level he should have been, though? I don't think he was ever in the question of the top when he was arguably there. And I think if he looked like Eden Hazard, then maybe he would have been.
But I think also a lot of that is nostalgia bias.
Yeah.
Like people, mate, one thing that annoyed me last season, Toni Kroos, right, who like obviously was amazing. He announced his retirement. Everyone was like, yeah, man, he might be the best midfielder of his generation. I was like,
was he even the best midfielder in the El Clasico?
He wasn't even the best midfielder on his own team.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but then people, like, the same with De Bruyne is now like finally getting his flowers because he's leaving. Yeah. And I think people just like look back way more fondly. People like say how bad the Premier League is now. In 10 years, people are like, man, the Prem was so good back then.
Yeah.
That will 100% happen.
I still remember that thing where he like curved the header. How do you do that? Like,
he's unreal.
Yeah. What a player. I think that's a lovely way to end it.
Delightful way to end it.
Absolutely fantastic. Ollie, I've really enjoyed this, mate. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
Anything you want to shout out before we wrap up?
Just myself, probably. Ollie Thomas, TalkCPFC. Give it a follow. Same on all platforms.
Lovely.
SEO and all that, you know.
We'll see you all next time.
See you next time.